Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really hope you are all safe and peaceful during this very difficult COVID pandemic. Bringing fresh new information to all of you this year was more challenging than ever, with more uncertainties and less direct communication. And this more particularly because we are dealing with a complex and diversified market. Let's go through the disclaimer and start with this industrial market. We have split this market in 8 segments: historical power generation, the desalination, the oil and gas, chemistry, the heating, ventilation and air conditioning, HVAC market, the shipbuilding, the automotive, and all other applications from architecture to bicycle, gathered in a global other segment. We excluded medical, sport, classes, and military applications. These 8 segments are consuming titanium for welded and seamless tubes, as well as plates, slabs, bars, wires, or sheets. Mainly grade 2 and grade 1, and to a smaller extent, grade 12 or 7. Like others, the industrial market have been affected by the COVID, but with different extent and length. As we will see, some changes are structural, when in other cases, they are limited or even positive. To review the market trend, we have used our internal sources of information, but also the publications of BP Energy, as well as the EIA annual report. Both of them integrated special COVID impact sections. Before studying the forecast for each individual market, let's benchmark the titanium with other alternative markets. Titanium success is highly related to its competitiveness against other materials, as copper, nickel, or aluminum. At present, low nickel price is helping titanium against nickel alloy for industrial applications. But on the other side, high copper and aluminum level are more supportive for HVAC or desalination applications. Let's study each individual market, starting with the historical power gen application. This graph is showing the year-on-year reduction of the electricity demand in major European countries, as well as India. As you can see, the electricity demand has been depressed by 20% or more during periods of full lockdown. If we want some comparisons, the impact of COVID-19 on energy demand in 2020 will be more than 7 times what happened during 28 financial crisis. Under such environment, the investment has globally dropped in power sector over 2020. You see in this graph the evolution of the investment between 17, 18, 19, and 20. You see that renewable energy is leading investment, but with a mixed change between wind and solar. Coal is going on its regular reduction, but more surprisingly, gas is facing a significant reduction. Nuclear is more stable. The following curves show the evolution of the share of primary energy per type of fuel from 1900 to 2050. 3 scenarios are considered for 2050, depending on the low carbon achievement objectives. In all cases, renewable energies are picking up and the coal energy is dropping. Nuclear share is increasing when the situation on gas energy is more contrasted, according to the scenario. Let's see now how this is reflected into the day-to-day business, starting with the coal thermal power gen. Even if the market is dropping, there are still some active projects to replace the closing plants. As you can see on this graph, there are nearly 100 gigawatts that will be removed from market over the period 2023. And 40% of this retirement will be in China. Following the trade war with the US, China favors coal against gas alternative, as China benefits of large coal production capacity. Thus, it is not a surprise to see several new coal power plants installed in China in 2019 for a capacity of 40 gigawatts. The trend after 2023 will depend on the directive within the Chinese 14th five-year plan, setting out its national goals for 2021-2025. So this is a very important document we are waiting. It's worth mentioning that this coal-fired power gen market is also a quite risky market. Why? We experience significant postponement of projects, generating contractual and cash risk. Just 3 examples to illustrate. There is the Ennore project in India, postponed for more than 2 years, the Pengle project in China with more than 1 year of postponement, and the Ostroleka project in Europe, which has been cancelled. Besides, there are more private financing for these projects, as governments are reluctant to finance CO2 emission. And this is representing additional risk of insolvency in case of any issue. Eventually, in all cases, the global fleet of coal-fired power plants should begin to decline by 2023. Let's move now to the natural gas energy. This is the cleanest and most efficient way of producing electricity, generating half of the CO2 of coal. Several developments are expected in the USA, with very competitive local shale gas. Investments are mainly combined cycle, which is positive for our titanium product as they are associated with a condenser, which most of the case are using titanium tubes. Some large projects are announced representing a global potential of about 2,000 metric tons. On nuclear market, after several years of controversies and delays, nuclear is now recognized as one essential part of the energy mix to achieve the low carbon objectives. The small modular reactors approach is supporting this move. The candidates to nuclear development are numerous, with about 30 countries considering, planning, or starting nuclear power programs. I won't read all of them, but you see countries like Belarus, Bangladesh, Turkey, Egypt, Poland, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, just to quote the one on which projects are more advanced. 2 candidates to nuclear development are leading the race, China and Russia. They are having huge national countries, and on top of this, they are targeting export market. They represent together over 50% of the installed gigawatt, and they fight to impose their technology abroad. In China, CNNC started operating the Fuqing nuclear power plant. The world's first HPR-1000 Hualong 1 nuclear reactor has been installed this year, and the second one, the Fuqing 6, will be installed next year. After 3 years of frozen investment, 4 units move ahead in 2019, Tianwan 7-8 and Shudapu 3-4. Two new units have been validated this year. New locations have been defined in Zhejiang province for 6 units of 1,000 megawatt each. On export, the Karachi 3 nuclear reactor in Pakistan has been installed in 2020. Third generation Hualong 1 design should boost export with a focus in Argentina and UK with the Bradwell project. The target remains 1 production level of 5 units per year over the 3 coming years, representing 1,000 metric tons of titanium each year. In Russia, supply chain is also very active, not only in Russia, but also for export with the VVR design, for example, in Turkey, Finland, or India. Rosatom, with 255,000 employees, 35 units in operation, 42 under construction or in project, is a huge player, having one step ahead on export market. Thus, the potential could be even bigger than Chinese one, with a target up to 1,200 metric tons per year. Let's move now to renewable energy. Renewable energy will grow significantly over the coming years. This will represent several opportunities for titanium. For instance, ocean thermal energy, conversion technology, or geothermal applications. We expect these new markets to represent few thousand metric tons of titanium within 10 years. Let's consider now the desalination market. On desalination market, the present trend on technology is clearly not in favor of titanium. The power consumption of reverse osmosis plant is decreasing thanks to technological and design improvement. Besides, reverse osmosis is more adapted to stringent environmental regulation. Brine reject is a real issue with the desalination plant, and the brine reject with reverse osmosis is 50% compared with the one with the thermal application and with better characteristic and lower temperature. Reverse osmosis plants can also be more easily powered by renewable energies. Reverse osmosis represents now 70% of the production capacity and large majority of projects. Few remaining opportunities around some reventing programs for which titanium long lifetime can be one technical argument still remain. But we believe the titanium consumption for desalination will be limited with spot cases around 500 metric tons and limited visibility. Besides desalination, water remains a major issue at worldwide level, on which titanium industry can offer solutions. Environmental and water conservation, more stringent standards are generating significant needs for wastewater treatment plants. We are facing a significant growth in the heat exchanger demand for this application. This environment, with unclear water composition and possible corrosive chlorine component, is favorable to the development of titanium solutions. Let's move now to the third segment, the oil and gas segment. The trend on this market is linked to the Brent price. Unfortunately, we are experiencing a unique level of oil price reduction till negative figures. It's difficult with such fluctuations to build cash-intensive private long-term projects. What will be the impact of this situation on LNG project? It's difficult to say. There is less cash into the industry, but on the other hand, cheap natural gas is supporting the competitiveness of this source of energy. 2019 has been a record year for LNG project announcement. If this is confirmed, we expect significant deliveries for the 4 years to come, among which 3 seawater cool projects identified requesting titanium. Titanium passive oxide film make it one ideal candidate for corrosion in oxidizing solutions. Nevertheless, a lot still needs to be done to extend the use of titanium. 2 initiatives I want to highlight. There are current efforts to expand the use of titanium in pressure vessels by incorporating the H grades into the ASME section 8, division 2. And there is also work with NACE to expand the use of grade 12 in sour gas service. This will be 2 important opportunities to develop the use of titanium. In parallel, market growth thanks to substitution of copper alloys alternative. Eventually, there are few points of vigilance. Titanium is prone for galling. It is reactive with hydrofluoric acid, often used for acidizing oil and gas wells. And on top of this, its complex wear properties are critical for riser applications. The big market for petrochemistry, to finish on this segment, is China, with more and more local supply, including for advanced equipment. It's interesting to see that India is showing huge potential and may become the second country for petrochemical projects over the coming years. But for this, the country must demonstrate its ability to support such development. Let's move now to the chemistry segment. Private petrochemical companies in China are significantly expanding their PTA capacity over 2020. The capacity is forecasted to grow at a rate of 3.9% till 2022. Hardly any new refinery network in China is being built without a connected PTA plant. And new projects are scheduled over 2021, at least 4 large projects. But on the other side, PTA consumption increased only of 2.3% per year in China. So there will be obviously some overcapacity and export forcing. Thus, this may impact negatively the PTA development in other countries. These projects, nevertheless, are representing a spot opportunity in China for the few years to come, with several thousand of metric tons of titanium. The electrolytic application is well oriented, with main market in China. Considering the high temperature and high chlorine concentration, the end users are very demanding, and this market is considered as a more premium market for titanium compared to desalination, for instance. Let's move now to the HVAC market. The HVAC market is driven by construction industry and government investments as airports or incineration plants. As part of the energy efficiency renovation, old HVAC systems are being replaced with more efficient units. On top of this, fluorinated greenhouse gas reduction is pushing ammonia heat exchanger, which is in favor of titanium against copper nickel. This market experienced a 10% growth per year as average, supported by government incentive and environmental pressure. Main projects are in Middle East and Asia. This HVAC market is dominated by plate heat exchangers with a global volume above 4 metric tons per year. Let's move now to the shipbuilding. This segment is strongly impacted by COVID on all submarkets. Less cruises, less offshore oil and gas, less global import-export activity. In the first half of 2020, there were around 332 new ship orders, all sectors, nearly 50% below 2019. Chinese shipbuilders secured majority of these 332 new ships, followed by South Korea and Japanese players far below. The pandemic has hit European shipbuilders predominantly engaged in the construction of cruise. Aside from COVID-19 related impact on new ordering, there is also the issue of vessel overcapacity in the industry, at a time when demand is constrained, particularly in the container shipping sector. To keep some optimism, there are 2 opportunities to limit the losses and bring some activity outside China. First, stricter fuel pollution rules push new generation of vessels. Here, one example, the Norwegian fertilizer company Yara is building a zero emissions electric autonomous container ship, which can become a standard for a new generation of ships. Another interesting action, pending international regulations are driving ship owners to install exhaust gas scrubber on which titanium use could be generalized. Let's review now the automotive segment. Consider 2 years ago as marginal market, the automotive market is on its way to become one key contributor with a potential of 10,000 metric tons by 2025. With first use in muffler system, valves, springs, titanium applications develop and cover now the promising electrical car segment. The electrical car market under development can more easily integrate titanium. Some example, the underbody protection of Tesla cars, parts of motor like titanium rods through the electromagnetic pulse of the rotor, also hydrogen fuel cell in Japan, or racing electrical cars. Eventually, electrical vehicles are offering good growth potential for titanium, even within the post-COVID world. The electrical vehicles have been less affected by the COVID-19 thanks to European strong push driven by incentives. The market is developing significantly to reach 50% of global market share by 2040, according to more optimistic analysts. Let's see now the last segment, the other industrial market. Other industrial markets, considered in our forecast, cover bicycle, wheelchair, as well as architectural applications. These are demanding use with perfect product appearance requested on top of chemical and mechanical titanium advantage. We believe the new applications are numerous and will continue to diversify. As titanium becomes a more common material, we should see several new industrial markets emerging. It must be noted, for instance, that electrical bikes will favor light and resistant material as titanium to balance the extra weight of the battery. Let's now conclude the study. The balance between the various markets will significantly evolve under COVID impact. HVAC, electrical, vehicles, and new applications will grow to become key contributors by 2030. Chemistry and petrochemistry will benefit of localization policy with investment confirmed in China and India. If confirmed, some LNG projects in North America, Qatar, and Mozambique should represent key opportunities for titanium over the 3 coming years. Nuclear industry will be developed as a key contributor to low carbon emission programs. This will balance the drop of coal-fired plants. Shipbuilding reduction will have significant impact on titanium markets in Korea and Japan. We better forget about desalination application to focus on the potential of wastewater treatment. Power gen will lose share due to the drop of coal power plants, and that will be only compensated by the nuclear rebirth. As a consequence, we expect the drop to remain limited at a global level, but several trends are still unclear, and we need to follow very carefully this market in order to understand what will be the titanium industrial market over the coming years. Thank you, take care. Looking forward to seeing all of you during a next event, and I really hope this time it will be alive. Goodbye.